Hi everyone, welcome back to Project Overflow. I have here Zuan with me again, and we are so happy to be here with you again. All right, so for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you so much for those who have been watching and also been sending in those questions. We've been getting loads of questions. Thank you so much for that. And if you're new, and if you have not subscribed, make sure you like it. Well, if you like it, I'm sure you are liking it. That's why you're here. Like and subscribe to the channel. It'll help us a lot. And also don't forget to turn on the notification bell. All right. So if you've got any questions, don't forget to comment down below your questions and we'll answer them in the videos to you. All right. And also, if you want to stay anonymous, we've got a link in the description where you can click on and ask your questions anonymously. And so you can be as detailed and juicy as possible, because the more details you give us, the better we have a grip of what you're asking, and the more accurate we can be, hopefully answering your questions. All right. So Zuan, how have you been doing? All good there?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah. So
Enjoying the lockdown.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So I don't know whether it's enjoyable time or not, but definitely time to spend with the family a little bit more, and also to be able to do a lot of things that we don't usually get to do. All right.
Yep.
So let's get back into the questions. I am really excited to answer the questions for today. We have a question here that asks this, right? It's actually a personal money management question. The two questions that we're answering today. The first one is it important to have a financial planner? Now, when I first read this question, I was thinking, okay, does the person mean like a software or a book that they write down, a planner, like a diary that they can plan out their finances? And then I realized, as the person was asking a question, it's more of a personal financial planner, as in a professional planner. All right, someone who studied planning. Okay, and I know Zuan is laughing his head off, and I'll probably get you to share a little bit about why it tickled you so much. I was tickled too. I read the question.
Yep. Oh, okay. So my turn to answer the question.
Yes, please go
All right.
ahead.
Disclaimer, in my humble opinion, right? Opinion. We're not financial advisors or financial planners, so we're not here to advise, right? So this is all just based on personal experiences and personal learnings. This is the purpose of the channel. I will always suggest to get a second opinion, third opinion, get professional opinion if you're really in that situation. So for me, is it important to have a financial planner? I have a financial planner, so I'm just going to put that out there first. There are pros and cons to have in having a financial planner, but how I would approach this question is this. I get it, because I'm also quite lazy and I like to outsource things. I outsource my laundry, okay? So because I don't like to wash, dry, fold, iron, so I outsource that. I understand that. But when it comes to money management, I really feel that we should learn. We should really spend time to learn and train this muscle of how do we manage our money without getting professional help first, okay? Because if you can't even handle let's say 10,000 ringgit, we don't even know how to manage that well. Then if we outsource that, and we are shifting the responsibility to the planner. And yes, they are trained, they are certified, okay? Go for the certified planners, okay? There's another thing here in Malaysia, Eugene, you're also aware, everybody's calling themselves advisor, wealth planner, but they are actually not. So do your research, do your due diligence, get an actual certified planner. Okay, you can actually check in the directory. If I'm not mistaken, you can check in Bank Negara or SC, their number, right? It's like how you check a real estate agent number. You can actually check their financial planning number, and you can see whether are they active or not. That's the first tip, to know that the person servicing you or helping you is actually certified. All right, so that is the first tip to get it out of way. So how I approach this is I started with not much, and I manage what I have. I learned how to manage that by practicing a lot of system, 6 jars management system. That's the very first thing that I started with. And then I tried my own budgeting sheet. So today, if I look at my own management sheet, okay, it's based on what works for me. So that is that's how I started. And when do I get my financial planner in to help me is when I realize I am paying too much for insurance. So that's how I got involved with a financial planner, because when I first got into insurance, they call it all in one, right? You get you very cheap rate. It's tied to investment link. It covers critical illness, room on board, PA, everything in one. I mean, but that's what I could afford back then in my early 20s, right? So I think I was paying like 150 a month. And as I age, as I age, I'm 32 this year. My needs change, and also my income grew, so I can afford better. I have more options, right? So that's where I actually look into a financial planner, because the financial planner can actually help me to. This is what I really appreciate about them, is because they're not tied to a insurance company. So what they can do is they can get quotations, 3 or even 4, comparing from different companies. Okay, presenting it in to me in a table form, and also showing me which one suits my financial needs better, which one actually supports my financial goal. So I find that very useful to get a financial planner, because they have access. They're like a broker, right? They have access to all the insurance company, and they can get the best rates. So that's where I first got introduced to that, and I felt very comfortable with my planner, because instead of me needing to go to individual insurance agents, that's how I started anyways, to check and review my policy. Okay, I can actually have it one stop. So yearly, I can just look at the table or chart. This is how much I'm spending. This is what is covered. And also in Malaysia, not sure whether does this applies overseas or not. It's very difficult to keep up to what Bank Negara, our central bank, is doing, because every year they will update certain things, and certain policies needs to be reviewed. Okay, like cost of insurance will increase and stuff like that. So sometimes for me, I realized one of my policy is it cannot cover to up to 80 years. So that's why I appreciate from a financial planner. And yes, that's just a very small scope of what they do. They can do more, but that's how I first got started into it. Just to answer the question, do you need a financial planner? I would say if you have a lot of if you are already managing your finances well, and you want to take it to the next level, like you want to consolidate your insurance, or even you want to go into investing, and also they do estate planning. There's this whole array of services that they offer. If you've done the basic and you want to take it to the next level, I would say it's good to sit down to have a review or have a consultation with any planners, and see whether it suits your needs at this current moment or not. Yeah, okay. So just that's my take on it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Zuen, for that. I think the interesting thing that thought that you brought about just now is that financial planners, right? So I think in Malaysia, a lot of agents tied to a company, a particular insurance company, actually call themselves financial advisors or financial planning advisors. So in your definition just now, I think it's actually very, very accurate, right? A good financial planner actually works for you rather than works for a particular insurance company. Okay, yep. I'm not saying that those who are actually working in the insurance companies are not financial advisors or planners, but they can only advise you to the best of their ability on the products that are actually already preset that is out there, and anything that is preset from the particular company is actually tailored to them, right? The benefits of them as much as they are for you. So when it comes to really understanding your own situation, because everybody's situation is different and everybody's goals are different, then if a independent financial planner would be able to now understand with you what you're trying to achieve, and also look for the best solution in terms of probably break up that whole package policy and give you the best bang for your buck for what you want to do. Yep. I think that's what you just said. That's really interesting, because for me, same thing like you, right? I've been shopping and I've been buying insurance. Actually, my first policy was bought for me by my dad, and I till today I'm still really grateful for that. He actually started us really young, every child had a policy. And then when we turned 21, we took over the policy and continued to pay for it. But at that time, that's all. Although I was in the financial industry, I really had very little understanding with estate planning and all that. And so my scope was still shopping around different insurance companies' set products, right? And then you see that, hey, they don't differ all that much. And what's worse, I think a lot of Malaysians will realize this, that it sounds really good on paper, but when the time comes to make claims, then you see the shortcomings of it. But by the time you need to make a claim, it's probably 5 years, 8 years down the road where you're really invested into it already, and it's very difficult to get out of it. So I think, So does someone need a financial planner? That question is great. But how Zuen, I may ask, how do you determine if the financial planner is actually doing it, for your interest? For example, right? They've got all these different companies out there, and wouldn't they go for the one that pays them the most?
Yeah, good question. This for me is, if a good financial planner is a financial planner that understands, like what you mentioned earlier, Eugene, somebody who is working with you to achieve your financial goals, right? I think you can already tell during I'm not sure whether there's still free consultation or not, but you can already tell when you sit down with a potential planner, and if that person actually shows that he's working with you, trying to understand your goals, what's going to happen in the next 5 years or 10 years, what is your financial goal, and can offer you solution to help get you there, instead of a product pusher. I mean, like, we all have this experience before. Somebody, they just come and they just want to push something, just get us to sign and just buy and swipe our card, right? So for me is if the planner can take time to understand our situation and also see any blind spots that we have, and advise, gives proper advice and solution, how do we tackle this, and also can work within your needs and your budget. So that's what I really appreciate with my planner. And also one thing I also appreciate is I don't just see him once a year, or once I need to top up my policy, right? I don't see him once a year, but I actually see him quite often, because he's, like I said, they are in the forefront of all this, right? They are the most up to date. So things. The one thing I appreciate is he shares a lot, and also he teach me and update me a lot of things that I wouldn't, because I wouldn't even read the fine print. Like, to be really honest, it's so thick, right? So any changes, he will actually come and let me know, hey, this is the changes, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, and keep me updated and aware. So a planner that actually teaches and helps to monitor that, I think that would be a good potential person to sit down with. But then again, I guess the best way is just to go out there and ask around, and have a session and sit down and engage, and I guess that's how all relationships start with, right? We just start out just having a conversation and see how it goes from there.
Sure. We actually did have a conversation earlier on, and continuously actually about this topic. And something that you brought up, which is very interesting, is that I think a lot of the viewers, our audience here, actually look at financial planning in terms of insurance. We look at it as a total package, because we're just so used to that, right? So it used to be called the endowment plan, whereby you save to a certain amount and then you don't have to pay anymore, or it pays a sum out. And then there's this life plan, or there's this different kind of plans, but they're all still plans with riders involved, and hospitalization and things like that, right? So I think a few weeks ago when we talked about this, you did mention that, hey, actually, if they were separated, and where the investment was separated from the protection, then you can actually get a higher risk to reward ratio in the sense of the investment, and also the maximum amount of protection.
Right.
And these are actually offered to by the insurance company, but they're not in the set packages that are out there. And I think that was mightily interesting. Would you mind to share a little bit more about that?
Okay, this is what I understand. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what I understand. But if you want the full breakdown, why is it like that? Go and ask a financial planner. This
Yeah.
is my layman understanding. Okay, because that's why I need financial planner help. So
Yeah.
I find something very interesting. One day my financial planner came back to me and said, "Hey Zuan, I reviewed all your insurance. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever you bought when you are in your early 20s, good. It serves its function. Okay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't help me to where I want to go." Right. And the first thing I find very, very interesting, which I didn't even know, he said that, hey, do you know that you can actually split it up? Split it up. So usually split up in terms of you can buy a separate PA. The function is just to cover this much. If you get in PA, personal accident, right? If you get into any accident or you lose a, a limb or a joint, right? You get paid, and also it's covered, and also a total permanent disability, and all these things. You get to shop around and just pick a PA, and it's cheaper to do that. Okay. And the second thing that I realized is he said you can also then split up your medical card and also your critical illness because it functions, it serves its own function. So back then, my policy, everything was all lumped and bundled into one. So it has PA, it has medical card.
Mine still does that actually.
Yeah, and it's tied to an investment link. So I was like, oh my goodness, right? So that was what happened. Okay, it's a good start. It's a good start, but it cannot sustain to where I want to go. So the advantage of doing that is which really blew my mind when he taught me is this. So for example, let's say if let's say I actually out of all, the cheapest is PA, personal accident, right? So you pay a certain amount for the entire year. So that's the cheapest. So if I did not separate it out and I got into an accident, all right, just accident, I don't need hospitalization for, let's say, okay. So if I claim that from my card, it affects the rest.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it affects the rest, right? So the advantage of splitting out is, let's say I just need PA, then if I claim that, it would not affect my medical card and my critical illness.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, so that was something that I learned. Like, wow, you can actually do that. You say, yeah, you can actually break up, but you will need, like I said, you will need money because now you have options, right? You need to be able to have money to do that, and also why you're doing that. That is one thing I learned. And the second thing he told me is when I'm buying life insurance at the time, he asked me this question: why are you buying life insurance? I was like, oh, I don't know, because it's important. No, everybody said you need life insurance, right? Which is something I appreciate also, because I said there's a few reasons why you want to buy life insurance. Number one is if you die, there's an amount to cancel that. Okay, so because sometimes when we die, we pass on, like most of the time we will pass on a mortgage debt or house debt, right?
Exactly.
So if you have that, then it can cover that. Then this is the amount you should be looking at. Okay. Another thing is if you buy life insurance, you can actually also set it as a gift. Like say, if I die, then it takes care of all my funeral. Chinese, right? If you die, you know how expensive it is here.
It is. Yeah.
Take care of all of that and also have enough to take care of the family. Then also I realized there's something called insurance planning. where you don't disperse the whole amount, you can do it periodically and whatnot. So that's another whole category. So that's where I find a financial planner very useful by teaching me all this, and also telling me the pros and cons, so I can make a very informed decision. It's no longer like, hey, I don't know, I just buy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Wow, that's a lot to take in, in one go. But I think you're right. I just remembered. I had a friend who passed away and left a widow with two very young children, and obviously, they had an insurance policy, and the insurance policy came in one lump sum. And and during the time of grief, there were a lot of things that need to be paid for, need to be settled, and everybody was advising, and finally, 6 months later, they end up with absolutely nothing. They started with almost $500,000 ringgit, but end up with absolutely nothing, right? But because there's no disbursement in that what you said just now, and that's also a reason why I think in the last segment we talked about how it's important that even as a couple, that both persons should learn and understand this equally, because you can leave an inheritance, and if the person doesn't know how to manage it, it's gone. Unless again that both get into this entire thing of not just estate planning but also insurance planning, which is mighty important, right? Because there are instances where the parents go away and they have a mishap and then left two very young children where they're not old enough to take care of themselves.
Mm.
And then the LA, or the person who is the guardian, we hear a lot of stories whereby it just gets mismanaged.
Right.
But then this you're saying that you're able to pre-plan this so that it focuses on taking care of those that are living. I think that is super, super interesting. All right. So the second question, I don't think we have much time to answer the second question, but I really enjoy this session because of the fact that a lot of people still don't understand. We even haven't gone into the areas of what happens to the investment portion, because if you're investing in the insurance, it's also kind of a unit trust, okay, or a trust fund that is managed by a manager, okay, and you don't have any say, and you continue to pay every year. In fact, you can actually break that up and put an investment as an investment and an insured sum as an insured sum.
Yep.
And I think that actually saves you a lot of money, but also ensures that your money is working hard for you every single day. All right, so thank you so much, Zuan. I think I've also learned a lot from you here regarding this area. And if you've got any questions, those of you who are watching this, and those of you who feel that your friends should watch this and understand this, right? And if you are an insurance agent or you call yourself financial planner, and if this kind of thing interests you, then do study more, because you'll be able to help a lot more people. Now, so those of you who feels that this video can help maybe a friend or a family member, don't forget to send the link to them so that they can understand a little bit more about how estate planning, not even that, I think insurance planning is more like it, right? Specifically in this topic that you can work on, right? So thank you so much again, Zuan, for that, right? If you're not even at that place yet, it's no harm to talk to someone still.
Yep.
Because it just gets you started, the ball rolling, and you know exactly, because it'll tell you how you should be working at it. Because finally, they're still going to ask you a set of questions, and if you don't know the answers, they will help you, prep you to answer those questions. For example, how much do you want, to leave behind? How much, if you lose your job or lose your hand, how much income would you lose, and things like that. And if you don't really understand all this, it's probably time to start to be aware of those things. All right. So that's us for this segment, or this particular video. Thank you so much. If you like, do like. If you like what you heard and what we're doing here, do like and also subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification button. Okay, we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Bye.